Welcome to Beers with Brian. And I'm Brian. Hey, happy 4th of July weekend. Just getting back to normal. Feels really busy right now. So I hope you take some time this long weekend. Re-energize yourself for the rest of summer because I think we're going to be like busy this summer. So I just got done with 2 days of jury duty and it was awesome. It was like so educational about how our criminal justice system works, how you find 12 people that aren't related to the case and aren't going to have any biases or prejudgments about the case. Man, really, really interesting stuff. Really good experience. I highly recommend it. If you ever get called for jury duty, don't try and get out of it. Try and figure out a way to be able to do it. And it was really fun. So, for what it's worth, do your civic duty. My weekly beer recommendation is Occiput Motueka. This is our kettle sour, so it's got a little bit of a pucker to it. Now, this is 4.9% alcohol, so not crazy high, not low. 5 IBUs, so it's a hopped kettle sour. Which most kettle sours are fruited kettle sours, but we went with a hopped version this time. It's got a little bit of liminess from the Motueka, which is also what we use in our Cinco de Taco. So that's bringing that limey flavor back around. It's just a nice, refreshing beer. So let's talk a little bit about sour beers. Now, sour beers are an acquired taste. There are people, the first time they try a sour beer, they are like, oh my gosh, that is so sour. How can you drink that? Give yourself time to learn to appreciate a sour beer. But once you get into them, they are really interesting. So Belgium and Germany are the two main countries that do sour beers, besides it now being grabbed on by American craft brewers and produced 1,000-fold in 1,000 different ways. So sour beers are very interesting. They brew them and then they store them out in the open air, and the natural bacteria and yeast in the air spontaneously ferment the beer and give it off different flavors. And they do them in these big, huge vats that are wide but fairly shallow, called coolships. There's a couple different primary bacteria that get in there. The first is called Brettanomyces, or Brett is what people call it. We use it to inoculate beers to give it that sour flavor. Another one you've probably heard of is Lactobacillus, which is like lactic acid producing. That's what we use in our kettle sour. Makes yogurt too. Another souring flavor you might have heard of is acetic acid, which is vinegar. Yes, like what you'd put on a salad. But there are lots of different ways of getting sourness into a beer. So after the sour is put in the beer, sometimes brewers, especially in Belgium, put them in big barrels, oak barrels, and they call them foeders over there. You can put them in whiskey barrels or bourbon barrels. Sort of mellows the sour, adds some other complementary flavors. Our kettle sour is clean, stainless. It stays in the kettle, and then it goes in the fermenter, and then it goes in the bright tank. So we don't add any of those other flavors. So it's a very clean, crisp type of souring flavor. But they're very refreshing, and they pair great with food. Speaking of food, we've got lots of stuff coming up at Craft Eats. Let's go with flatbread. This coming week, Flatbread Friday is going to be pesto ham and cheese with a pit roasted ham that's going to be delicious. Dinner special for Friday and Saturday is going to be shrimp skewers with remoulade, Louisiana style remoulade. So that's going to be like a mayonnaise with pickles and Cajun seasoning in it. And then served with succotash, which is sort of a corn and bean medley. And then cheddar hush puppies. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Neep, neep. So come get you some of that. We're working on posting some of our new summer menu items as specials throughout the next week or so. So you might see some specials popping up that might permanently go onto our menu for permanently for the season. Go on the menu because we rotate our food seasonally, just like our beer. Upcoming events. We got Name That Tuesday coming up on the 6th at 7 p.m. And then we'll have some more events later on in the month that I'll tell you about next week. So until then, like, subscribe, let me know any comments, anything you want to share with me. and just have a great 4th of July. Cheers!